How many of you get to the afternoon and start to feel tired, lethargic, fatigued? You want to take a nap, but then you look at your to-do list and you realize you still have 77 things left to do. If you've ever felt that way, this video is for you. So why do we feel this way? It's our body clock at work trying to keep everything in balance. Our body clock is also known as our circadian rhythm. So what happens in this state is that our alertness and focus decreases and our need for sleep increases. It's actually just signaling to us that we need to take some rest or we need to take a measure that will change how we feel. So I want you to know it's not negative, it's not bad, it's just helping you get back on track. And it's natural for this feeling to occur 12 hours after deep sleep, which usually occurs around 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. So that's why we feel it between 1 to 3 p.m. Step 1, refuel. The first and easiest thing we can do is hydrate. I know it doesn't sound like rocket science and it isn't one of those clever hacks, but it can make a huge difference. Alkaline water specifically has a much bigger impact on your energy levels as well, so I try to stick to that. Chances are when you're feeling tired, you're going to want to reach for something with fats and carbs. I know when I get tired, I want to reach for some chocolate, some donuts, maybe a bagel, but that's not really what your body needs. What you need is a high protein snack. And so you want to turn towards something like fruits, nuts, seeds, anything that you actually may not want at that moment. You may not want to taste it, but I promise you, you'll feel much better for it. Now, if you're a tea lover, you already know the benefits of a hot cup of tea. But if you're not, I want to let you know that certain teas have herbs and adaptogens that help your body get back up to balance. So if you're feeling stressed, they'll de-stress you. If you're feeling anxiety, they can lower that down. And on top of that, the art of taking a cup of tea, inhaling the scent, feeling it in your body, and then looking at the color gives you that sense of pause that you need in the day and re-energizes you immediately. I recently did a test to check my vitamins, and I realized that I was really deficient in vitamin D. The doctor explained to me that because of the color of my skin, no matter how much time I spend in the sun, I need to be taking vitamin D. Now, she was actually shocked that I could even get out of bed. That's how much vitamin D is connected to our energy levels. So if you're starting to feel fatigued a bit earlier than usual, get a vitamin D check and start taking some vitamin D. Step number 2, step outside. Now, when you do go outside, it's really important that you find a good natural sunscreen that you can use. Sunscreen helps reduce signs of aging, which the sun can do when we're unprotected and we're outside in the sun for long periods of time. Sunscreen also helps reduce the risk of skin cancer. I was always one of those people that used to forget my sunglasses at home. I used to always buy a nice pair that I liked, but somehow I'd forget them in a drawer or the side of a car. And now I realized I was making a big mistake. In one article I read, Dr. Davis said that sunglasses help to prevent skin cancer around the eyes. The ultraviolet light can pass through the eye to the lens and even cause cataracts. We all know how important it is to sweat. One of the simplest ways to sweat is make sure you get your steps in. Now, whether you wear an Oura ring or whether you wear a Fitbit, I think it's a great way of aiming for that 10,000 steps a day. You can even turn it into a mini competition with your friends, with your family, maybe even your children, some colleagues at work. It gives you that added incentive and enthusiasm to get those extra steps in every single day. We don't realize how much the noise in our head gets really, really loud, especially when we're tired. We might judge ourselves. We might start saying things like, "You don't work hard enough. You're so lazy." And that noise gets louder and louder and louder as we get more and more lethargic. Now, one of the ways to quieten that noise is to find sound to replace it with. That sound could be a podcast, an audiobook, a song that you love that puts you in a great mood, or it could simply be the sounds of nature. It could be birds, some natural water, some leaves rustling. The noise in our heads will quieten down when we put on the sounds that make us feel better. One of the things I love to do is feel like I'm learning, feel like I'm growing. Because when I step outside of not just my space, but my workspace and my workstation and my laptop, I allow myself to expand my mind. One of my favorite ways to do that is with the Blinkist app. because you can read and listen to books in blinks. I was recently reading and listening to John Levy's You're Invited, The Art and Science of Cultivating Influence. It also tells me in 3 bullet points who this book is for. Business leaders looking to create a more supportive company culture, check. Introverts craving connection without the social pressure, check. Social justice activists looking to increase engagement. Sounds good. So in 3 simple steps, I can figure out whether a book is for me and how it's going to be impactful in my day-to-day life. This next step is one of my new favorite values, play. I read this amazing quote by Richard Branson that says, "We don't stop playing because we get old, but we get old because we stop playing." And I realized in the pandemic just how much I loved to play. Whether it was a game of Catan, whether it was a game of tennis, I just knew that I had to be more active mentally and physically with the value of play. Now, often play is seen as something that should be reserved for the weekends. It's seen as something that you put off as a treat. Well, why can't we break it down and treat ourselves in the middle of a day? Maybe it's playing a game of cards. Maybe it's playing a video game if you just want to take that break to beat your next record. Or maybe it's just doodling or messing around or calling up a friend and having a playful conversation. The point is that play can be used as a reward, as a treat throughout the day. You don't have to put it off. Now, for those people that can be quite addictive personalities like me and find that if you turned on a video game at 2 p.m., you may still be playing it at 10 p.m., set a timer before you start, allow yourself to get that one game of FIFA or NBA 2K in like I would, and then get back to work. Doing something fun and exciting can increase blood pressure, dopamine, and your heart rate, giving you the energy boost you need. Step 4, sleep schedule. The Dalai Lama once said, "The best type of meditation is sleep." It is the most underrated, underestimated health hack in the world. I can't emphasize enough how important it is that we figure out our sleep schedule. Now, over many, many years, I've realized that I need about 8 hours and 15 minutes of sleep to feel I'm at my best. I've trained myself to wake up without an alarm, and I know that I'll wake up at 8 hours and 15 minutes later than whatever time I went to sleep. In order to do that, I had to do something that might seem uncomfortable in the beginning, but it will pay off in the long term. Your sleep schedule has to include your weekends. For those of us that sleep those extra hours, many hours during the weekend, it makes us feel like we don't get enough during the week, which means throughout the week, we're feeling that slump. We're feeling that tiredness more and more and more because we allowed ourselves to go that much further on the weekend. It's so vital that you sleep before midnight. Now, I have a lot of night owl friends who are always telling me that, "Hey Jay, I get my 8 hours, but I go to sleep at like 2 a.m. And the truth is that the science shows that 8 hours of sleep after midnight is not the same as the hours that you would get before midnight. Why? Because the human growth hormone, known as HGH, is more activated in the hours before midnight. It washes our brain, it cleanses our body, it purifies our system, and frees us of all of that energy that we want to leave behind. Now, as you all know, I absolutely love chocolate, but I've really been limiting my chocolate intake before bed because high levels of caffeine can disrupt our natural flow of sleep. For those of you that know me know that I don't drink alcohol, but alcohol has been shown to have the same effects as well, where you're disrupting your natural sleeping pattern. Step 5, listen to your body. Now, maybe you're one of those people that are doing all of this and you're sitting here going, "Jay, I work out, I eat right, I try and sleep right, maybe you even meditate, but I still feel tired in that slump." Now, I went through this exact same thing. Don't ignore the signs. Listen to your body. There could be something underlying that's going on. It could be your hormones. It could be that you're suffering from depression or anxiety. It could be that you've been spending excessive time on social media, stress, or even narcolepsy. Now, for me, as I said earlier, when I felt this way, I went and got checked and realized it was a vitamin D deficiency. Everything that breaks in the world once started as a small, tiny crack that was not nipped in the bud, that was not focused in on. That crack gets bigger and bigger every single day, every single week, until it's harder to repair, until it's harder to fix. So don't do that to your body, don't do that to your mind. Go and get tested and figure out how you can change.